don't think anybody really knew what was going on until they saw people on the ground bleeding and heard people screaming and heard the commotion, because you didn't know when you're in a bar like that, you really think that it's music.
Traumatized and injured clubbers were helped from the scene and taken to hospital for treatment. One mother received texts from her son who said they were trapped in the toilets and they feared they were going to die. Another mother was distraught trying to find out if her son was still alive.
I don't know where my son is. No one can tell me where my son is.
President Joe Biden is urging Americans to push back as Republican bills target the LGBTQIA+ community and transgender youth. The president spoke at a White House Pride event, stating the bills attack America's basic values and freedoms. Some Republican-led states ban teachers from discussing gender or sexuality to young students, and Conservative lawmakers propose to pass laws restricting drag performances. President Biden showed his allegiance to the LGBTQIA+ community, reassuring them they belong.
You are loved. You are heard. You are understood. And you belong.
Fourscore-and-7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.